Question number 5 on the pre-calc final exam. I give you two functions and I ask you to find a new function, function f divided by function g. And I also ask you to find the domain of this new function. Well, because it's f divided by g, I start off with function f, which is negative 2 times the square root of x minus 2, and that goes in my numerator. Then I look at my denominator, which is g, which is 5 times the square root of x minus 3, and I simply plug in. Well, now, I always want to simplify functions as much as I can, but because I have a binomial in both the numerator and denominator, and because they do not have any common factors, this is as simplified as it gets. So f divided by g of x is this right here. But I'm also supposed to find the domain of this new function. But to find the domain, we have to talk about the two problems we can have domain problems. The first one is we cannot have a 0 in the denominator. So if you look at the denominator of our new function, which is 5 times square root of x minus 3, that is not allowed to equal 0. So we set that up, and now we solve. I add 3 to both sides. I get 5 times the square root of x cannot equal 3. Divide by 5, so I get the square root of x cannot equal 3/5. And then I square both sides, and I find that x cannot equal 9/25. For our next part, we also have to look at negative radicands and even root radicals. Well, I do have even root radicals in two places. I have one here, and I have one here. And since my radicand is x, my radicand cannot be negative. So that means it must be greater than or equal to 0. So I have domain problems here and here, which means my domain is going to be all real numbers except x cannot equal 9/25 and x must be greater than or equal to 0.